Dinner's ready. I don't have a cat. Ciao guys, I just got into the Spam Talk tunnel, maybe 5 years too late, but I can't get out of it, so I decided to get into it. Oh, FYI, that's the kind of spam you can find in Italy. If you never tasted it, you will find a very honest experience in here. And if you know it and tasted it already, well, you'll feel the need to comment. Let's start big, with 2 recipes at once, with Bayashi. So get ready to fry some Bayashi is basically famous for 3 things: panko breadcrumbs, deep frying, and layering stuff with cheese. So he's basically my soulmate. I don't know if that was him to invent spam fries, but that's what we're gonna start with. So basically cut your spam in fries shape and get ready to cover them with eggs and panko. But he does that in this special way, like pouring all the eggs on top of the spam first, and then mixing with the panko breadcrumbs, all together in the same plate. Making his recipe, I realized 2 things. That I didn't have gloves to do that, and he does, and that makes the process way less gross. And the second one is that the panko doesn't actually stick to spam. I went back and rewatched his TikTok as well, and it's the same for him. If you look closely, the result is not well coated in panko. Is that a huge problem? No. Just something you need to keep in mind, as if you could consider to cook that at home. The second one we are preparing is a total Bayashi recipe, which is basically layering your spam with 2 kinds of cheeses, cheddar and mozzarella, and then covering this brick with egg and panko again. It clearly looks like something you shouldn't do. For some reason this time the layer of panko came out just perfect. Then you preheat your frying oil. I tried to use a very small pot so I could actually use a very small amount of oil. Here's some ASMR, because frying sounds so good. Oh my god! The result is something that a few years ago could never be considered a recipe. But look at it, how can you don't want to eat it? As my first ever encounter with spam, I think we did good. The fries were crunchy and flavorful, and you, believe me, can forget the cat food vibe of the spam. The result is something so comfort that, believe me, you could end 1 can of spam. But the thing that absolutely rocked my soul was the cheese one. It was the richest in flavor and the most savory, and it was even not too salty. And the crunchiness. I swear, when I saw it, I thought I couldn't finish it, and I totally did. The only one thing about it is that, as someone not used to eat spam, I thought the same recipe could be done with ham, with basically the same result. Bayashi already did that. So it's all about layering with cheese some beef that is cured or comes out of a can. So I'm just not sure that spam is crucial to this recipe instead of ham. My rating is 9.5 out of 10 for the fries and fucking 10 for the cheese one. It's just that I cannot consider it a dinner or a lunch, but at the same time I cannot consider it a snack. So what's that? How is that a meal? Cooking with Linia taught me the 3rd recipe, Spam and Musubi. I think this one is the most famous of them all. Also, please help me understand. Musubi can be done maybe with tuna or tofu, or is it a spam recipe? Anyway, you cut 3 nice pieces of spam in the shape of the can. That will help you later. And you pan fry them. Then she makes a sauce out of soy sauce and light brown sugar. I thought it was the same, but you have to correct me. I just put soy sauce and then sugar directly on spam. Is it different in any way? Please tell me. Cook it until it's nice and brown. Then you are already ready to compose your dish. The process is directly inside a clean spam can. Put the plastic wrap first, then a layer of cooked rice, then this special and magic seasoning, which is basically called roasted seasoned seaweed for topping. I personally never heard of it. It's really crunchy, a little bit greasy, but it's super good. After that, it's time for your spam slice. Try to push every layer very much, so it will stick together. When you feel it's ready, just pull your plastic wrap and your musubi comes out. Wrap it in your roasted seaweed, and here you are. You just made yourself a spam musubi exactly like you saw on TikTok for the past 100 years. The taste is good, okay? I cannot say it's not good. Personally, I just need to get used to two things. The first one is soy sauce added to something already so salty. I know that the rice is meant to balance the saltiness of the dish, but something is just off for me. The second one is the seaweed. I'm not sure that the match with the spam for me is good, so maybe next time I will cut a thinner stripe. Other than that, this recipe is 8 out of 10 for me. The next recipe is all over TikTok, so I don't know which TikToker taught me that, but the one that convinced me is Nom Life. She makes, these inspirational and unrealistic recipes with the sun on the plate and with everything so caramelized and aesthetic. That's what food talk is there for. But apart from that, on TikTok everybody seems to eat it from time to time. Spam and egg. First of all, you dice your spam and then you throw it on the pan. When it's lightly crispy, you should add a mixture of oyster sauce, soy sauce and sugar. I still don't get the sugar in there. You can't taste sugar with all that seasoning on the way. Anyway, remember that soy sauce will splash a lot when it touches the hot pan. You will get your cooktop dirty as hell. I'm pretty sure I made a lot of mistakes there because I felt that the spam dried too quickly, then I added some water but too much, but it dried again so quickly, so maybe it was not that much anyway. It was a mess. I still have no idea what was wrong with that. When your spam cubes look like the one you saw on TikTok, you go ahead and make yourself a very soft omelette with a couple of eggs and a very light seasoning, just salt and pepper if you want. Nom Life taught me this technique where you push your eggs to the center until you feel it's cooked but not too much. Very, very soft. Of course, I ended up with overcooking it. Then you just have to combine all your ingredients. So season your rice with furikake and then put your spam and eggs on top. Another sparkle of furikake for the vibes. I totally get that you crave food that you are used to eat. I am Italian, so I don't have that fact on spam and eggs. Anyway, I appreciate it. I see that it has a lot of flavors. Furikake is fishy, spam is meaty, and also the soy sauce and the eggs. I see it. It's just that for me it's not a plate that I could fall in love with. For this one, I believe you need to have a cultural heritage. Something that reminds you of your childhood or some comfort moments you had from time to time. On this basis, I believe you can love it. Otherwise, for me, it was not that balanced and in some way a little bit basic. And I don't think it's something that, discovered as an adult, you will cook yourself twice. My rating is 6. It's not poor, but it's not top marks. Okay, there's this girl. I didn't know her, but I love her. She's Tiffy Cooks. She made spam and ketchup fried rice, and not a single word is wrong. So I put my diced spam on the pan. When crispy and brown, I added the egg, which cooked like in no time. Then added the rice, and then the frozen veggies. I noticed that the veggies came with the bell pepper, which I don't like, so I fished it out. Then I added the soy sauce. A lot to start. And then some more. Because of the fact that on TikTok you never know anything about the process of cooking, when I felt it was just right, I added the ketchup. She adds a lot of it, and so I did. Now that I am seeing the result of my recipe compared to hers, what can I say? I just made another recipe. Everything is different color, different veggies. I'm sorry Tiffy, I don't even know why I mentioned you. I succeeded to make at least the same shape of hers, and well, what do I think? Based on the fact that I made some random recipe without any measurements, and also based on the fact that I followed very bad the TikTok recipe, with all that given, I liked it. Spam kind of died under the seasoning. Next time, different veggies, more egg and less ketchup. But I'll rate this 7 out of 10. Here we are at the last one. Something easy, something comfort, something without soy sauce. Hey in Space taught me this one. Some nice and cute spam onigiri. This time you have to destroy your spam, like deconstruct it in very small pieces and pan fry them until crispy. Then put them to the side and use the fat from the spam to scramble your eggs. Also them need to be in very small pieces, very small. Then you are ready. Combine the spam and the egg with mayonnaise, mix it very well, and that will be the filling for your onigiri. Once again, I didn't have gloves or something like that to just avoid touching and shaping the onigiri with bare hands. So gross. Especially because it came out that I've put way too much oil when the rice must be only lightly oiled. Anyway, I was able to end up with an onigiri that looked like an onigiri. The problem was the taste. I love sesame oil, but that was the only thing that you could taste. It looked like it peed itself. I believe this recipe could be very good. Mine was 4. But I will give this recipe a 7, based on faith that I will be able to do it right. We are done, guys! I finally tasted spam to make all those recipes I see all over the internet. I'm so happy! These kind of experiences are the reason why I have a YouTube channel. And if you are still here, why don't you subscribe? I know, it's not something that you do so spontaneously or so often, but trust me, it helps a lot. See you on some next experiment. Bye!